we'll be talking about comics that wasn't seen yet in the movies. But of course, since we all love comics, ano ba yung mga comics na gusto natin? If ever magkaroon tayo ng chance, malay mo, maging James Gunn si Ray o kaya maging Kevin Feige ngayon si Blake. Ano bang mga comics ang gusto nyong mailagay sa big screen? Hey, yo, what's up? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, kung anong oras mo nyo man to pinapakinggan. So we are here in the Cup of Geek, and technically we are here in the GeekTalkPH page. So if you're here right now, thank you so much for dropping by, and hopefully along the way, tapusin yung episodes, marami kayong magugustuhan with our topic today. And before we indulge to our topic, so again, let me introduce myself. I'm Geeky Pinoy, Noah. So you can catch me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and a bit of Twitter. And my co-hosts here are, kung saan man sila nandito. Ayan. So go, Ray, introduce yourself first.
All right. Again, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good day, everyone. Let me introduce myself. Ako nga pala si Ray, and I'm your Knight of Fun, and you can find me on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, and you can find me on Twitter naman, Knight_of_fun. So that's a different anong tawag dyan? Code name, anong tawag doon? Handle. Social media handle. Yan. Pila ko nakalimutan. Screen name. But yes, pero dito sa podcast natin, you can call me by my real name kasi it's a little bit short and a little bit easy to remember. So it's Ray for tonight's episode, for tonight's video. Yan. So yeah, just follow me on my socials. Also follow me on PenLab. I have a comic on PenLab. So it's called Trinity, and download the app and matutuwa kayo dun sa comic na yun. All right, next Blake.
Hello everybody, it is me, Uncle Blake, aka basically just Blake. And you can always follow me for any movies and shows and anything I like to talk about on TikTok, Facebook, and IG. I hardly use Twitter because Twitter is confusing and too much social media can be bad, but that's fine. Anyways, guys, hope you're having a good time right now, wherever you are. Today's episode is going to be pretty good. Let's see what we're going to be talking about. All right. So, what are we talking about today?
All right. So before we get to our main topic, before we get to our, pag-uusapan. So, ano ba yung mga latest kayo individually? Ano yung kahit mga dalawa lang or kahit isa nga lang, pwede. Mga latest comics na binabasa nyo or binasa nyo?
Nako, ako pa tinanong mo dyan.
Or tambak na binabasa.
Sige nga, pakita I have a pile of single issues na kaya ko babasahin, and I have a library of books na hindi ko pa nababasa. So, and recently, ito. Isa sa mga best books probably ng Spider-Man. The Amazing Spider-Man, Kraven's Last Hunt. Diba? So, if you know, diba, Kraven is going to be out in a movie. So, parang, will it be like the Kraven's Last Hunt story? But I think not, kasi medyo medyo mature yung kwento ni Kraven dito, and if you're going to introduce Kraven in a movie, it's not probably a good way to start. But Kraven's Last Hunt, I read that a few months before, and I really, really liked it. One of the classics siguro in terms of the Spider-Man story. So I definitely enjoyed reading that book. And then pinaka latest siguro that I can say na tinapos ko is a manga. I don't have a copy here beside me. It's called PTSD Radio. So, napaka-curious medyo I'm into a lot of horror comics kasi right now. So, lahat ng mga halos every month meron akong isang horror book na binabasa. So, this one is my recent read, PTSD Radio. And basically, it's a, let's say merong God dito na nagmumulto or nananakot ng mga individuals, and sobrang graphic ng mga ng layout ng panels, sobrang ganda ng pagkaka-execute ng panels na yung tipong magbi-build up siya ng scare. Yung tipo, how do you picture out this How do you put a jump scare sa pages ng isang libro? 'Di ba? That's parang
Okay.
you have to diba, parang appeal to the flipping of the page. Kailangan maganda yung pacing ng panels mo. And that's what PTSD Radio did. Ang ganda ng pacing niya na every flip ng page mo, there's that scare that will bring you. And then syempre, I don't know what is in the Japanese culture that they use a lot of hair in their in their scare
Long hair
tactics,
is
diba?
equivalent to horror.
Yes, long hair is equivalent to horror. So yung
Pero
author,
Blake, exempt ka doon kasi kailangan straight.
so yes, yung ano na yun, yung concept na yun na it uses a lot of hair, it uses a lot of disfigured na
Diba?
facial expressions. So definitely good to read yung PTSD Radio. So I read the first volume.
Kailangan long hair at wet look yan.
Oh.
So medyo kumbaga sa jump scare si Blake, mga ano lang, medyo onting tili lang.
Diba?
Audition.
Yeah, yun. So PTSD Radio is one of my recent reads. The other one I will talk about later din. Kasi medyo siya.
Sige.
I'd like to put that on our topic later.
Yun. Ikaw, Blake, meron ka bang mga recent reads or
well, recently, yesterday, and then I just finished it today. I finished reading and completion or updated na for Chainsaw Man. I was just like, because I watched the anime first. I was like,
nice.
People were saying like, oh, you should read Chainsaw Man. It's like, it's crazy. I was like, okay, it's strange. And I watched the anime. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read it now so I know what happens after.
It's badass.
And I was just like, now I'm afraid to open doors now.
open door? The never-ending rooms. Is that the one you're referring?
Yeah, it's like, what's that like? If you're a Chainsaw Man fan, obviously you guys know. If someone says open a door, don't open the door.
Don't open it.
Stay at home. Just don't do anything. Just sleep. That's all you gotta do. And and don't be someone's dog, I guess.
Oh. Depends.
Siguro one lesson, Blake. Also one lesson in Chainsaw Man is really have a goal in life, even if it's a very simple goal.
Denji is a simple man. His goals are simple, relatable.
and for noontime for late night show.
Welcome to the Cup of Geek late night show.
Late night.
Late nights with the Cup of Geek,
Oo.
Pwede. Probably
Ako naman recent,
sige.
medyo mainstream yung mga binabasa ko recently. So, isa sa DC, isa sa Marvel. So, sa DC si Captain Atom. So, medyo nagma-Marvel Unlimited
binge.
not so popular characters yung binabasa ko. So, medyo origins niya. Bago yung comics New 52 siya. Na-receive ko lang recently. So, parang origins ulit siya. And more on, parang siya palang may pagka Carol Danvers yung pilot, ganyan. Then, na-expose sa...
Ito yung for the audience Captain Atom ito yung blue suit, 'di ba? Na hindi yung may technological costume.
No. Captain Atom is Captain
The
Atom
silver.
Silver. Yeah, tama.
Silver na parang si Captain Planet. Hindi.
Oo. Parang siyang Silver Surfer pero not really.
Alam, visuals naman dito if ever. Then siguro yung isa pa yung Fantastic Four lang. Medyo lang siya where may anak na si nandun na yung mga chicketing nila nila Richards and then, so parang sila nag-field trip. Tapos may school nagkaroon parang lang ng schools yan sila ang Fantastic Four. Basta ganun lang naman yung story niya. Sobrang okay din. Hindi naman siya sobrang bigat pero chill lang. Para sila nag-field trip outer space. Sabi ko, ay sa mga road trip ng pamilyang to outer space. Ayun na, yun na yung mga recent reads ko. And the reason why I ask you guys with that, if you see the title, you see the topic on this one on YouTube or now in GeekTalkPH page, we'll be talking about comics that wasn't seen yet in the movies. But of course, since we all love comics, ano ba yung mga comics na gusto natin? If ever magkaroon tayo ng chance, malay mo, maging James Gunn si Ray o kaya maging Kevin Feige ngayon si Blake. Ano bang mga comics ang gusto nyong mailagay sa big screen? So, this is not, this is not just in DC, Marvel, so halo-halo, iba-ibang graphic, ano tawag nila?
Graphic
Ibang
novels,
graphic novel.
mga independent
Ayan.
titles, ayan. So manga even.
So,
Pero sige, let's
pairing
put
them.
let's put some di ba structure rules. But we will focus on telling about siguro a full run of a certain character pwede. Kasi di ba Marvel DC we are expecting na some of the characters will have adaptations of their runs in the Civil War, for example,
Sooner or
'di ba?
later, oo.
The fight between Captain America and Iron Man is actually parang inspired by the comic. So basically ganung concept rin. What else? Moon Knight parang may ganung concept rin, 'di ba? So some of the issues tackled in Moon Knight is also in the comics is also tackled in the series. For independent comics, there are a lot of titles. For example,
True.
ano ba yung mga recently na lumabas pero hindi nyo masyadong napakinggan? If you're not familiar, Paper Girls is on Amazon Prime.
Parang narinig ko nga siya.
It's on Amazon Prime. Wala akong copy dito pero medyo medyo 80s yung vibe, so medyo Stranger Things yung vibe pero sci-fi yung yung setting, and they travel time naman yung mga Paper Girls na yun. So baka sana yung kwento pero hindi nyo masyadong narinig yung yung series because I don't know. And then, ano pa ba? I think pinaka-favorite ko na nag-flop sa streaming, Why the Last Man. This was a comic printed by Vertigo before, so DC, under DC Black Label now. It's about the last man on Earth. So, nagkaroon ng wipe out of all men on Earth. So, you just need to read the comic kung paano nangyari yon. Pero lahat ng mga jobs that were basically dominated by men are now being done by females. So this guy, this last man, si Yorick, kaya Y, Yorick yung pangalan niya, has to kumbaga, anong gagawin niya? Siya na yung last na lalaki sa mundo. And ang only objective niya, sabi nga sa Chainsaw Man, the only motivation niya, the only objective in his life now as the last man is to find his fiancée sa Australia na nasa US siya ngayon. So yun lang yung objective niya, pero he has to travel and he has to encounter a lot of difficulties on the way to his fiancé. And at the ending,
Nag-flop siya. Nag-flop.
hindi siya nag-click sa I'm not sure kung anong network, pero wala siya sa Netflix, wala siya sa
Amazon.
HBO. No, it's not even Amazon. Para siyang hindi siya CW rin. I just don't remember, pero hindi siya nag-click. Even the US audience did not like it, so I don't know what happened. Pero ang ganda sana ng story kasi itong comic book na to, when I read the whole series, pinaiyak ako. Literal na pinaiyak ako ng librong yan. So, sayang.
Anong title? Sorry.
Why the Last Man?
Why the Last Man? Sige.
Oo.
Check natin.
So, yan. So, pwedeng independent stories and pwedeng manga. So, manga to live action, pero let's keep away from anime muna. So, mas maganda sana gawin na let's talk about some manga that we can probably look at turning it into live action. So, Rurouni Kenshin is one of the manga adaptations na ginawang live action that I like. Alice in Borderland, the one that we discussed a few episodes ago, diba? So yun, let's frame it in that context yung mga recommendations natin.
Sige. So, mostly kasi naman may mga iba na nakakalusot na sa tulad niyan. There are comics na hindi lang tayo aware meron pala. Kasi so happen, di pa ganun ka tindi ang streaming platform and even yung social media. So, minsan kulang sa marketing, kulang sa exposure and even help from other networks. So baka may mga if ever may masabi man kami mga graphic novels na akala namin wala pang adaptation. You can comment down below. You can correct us, walang problema dyan. And you can share as well your comics na gusto niyo rin sooner magkaroon din ng mga sarili niyang adaptation. So yes, so we're gonna go ahead and dive in. I'm gonna go first. Actually, ako kasi nag-start ako with comics with Filipino comics talaga. So maraming hindi naniniwala na baka laki, rich kid ka Marvel boy ka na DC Comics ka na dati. So my first comics was from sabihin ko malalaman edad ko na ito 1990. Ayan, 1990. My God. So 1990, I was first handed my first comics sa loob ng barbershop. And this was Funny Comics. That's the name of the comics. If you guys are aware of it, Funny Comics is a well-known Filipino comics before. Sa mga ages, siguro up to 16, 15 years old. And by that time, siguro pa lang ako nun. Mag-grade 1 pa lang ako. So,
nawala na edad mo tuloy.
Oo, nawala tuloy. So, dun sa comics na yun, actually, siya, parang yung old style na ng mga Jump, parang sa Japan, compilation na siya ng mga stories. So, inside the comics, tigta 3 page lang kada story. Maximum na yung 5. Special na yun. Special.
Pag
parang
naka 5
special
page
na
ka.
pag 5 pages ka na. So, parang ang price pa niya before 9 pesos, 8 pesos, ganyan pa yan. Ayan. So, anong specific story? So, meron akong favorite. I think, alam din ni Ray, Combatron. Combatron is actually, sobrang babaw ng story niya. You're gonna see here naman. Combatron is actually like a rip-off ni Mega Man na dating Rockman pa. So, Mega Man is a video game, di ba? So, ang itsura ni Combatron is medyo ganun. Pero ang story niya is Green Lantern style. Yung may nag-crash na alien and then pinasa sa kanya yung kapangyarihan. So, batang yagit lang siya naglalaro sa labas kasama ng aso niya. Then, biglang may nag-crash na alien form. Tapos, parang mamamatay na. Sabi niya, isusugurin na, mababaw lang siya actually, mababaw lang yung story. Susugurin na yung planeta nyo, next na siya, ng mga parang mecha alien type na being. So sabi niya, sige, papasa ko na sa iyo yung kapangyarihan ko. Then, lo and behold, naging si Combatron siya. So nag-run yung story na yun from grade 1 ako hanggang grade 5. Ganong katagal siya. Kung hindi ako nagkakamali, ganong katagal. So, nagkaroon siya, syempre, ng mga upgrades. Yung story niya, nagkaroon din siya ng mga kasama. So, sobrang babaw lang din ng kada episode niya. Dahil parang style Voltes 5, may dadating na kalaban, kakaiba, kakalabanin niya. After a few issues, matatalo niya. Situational din, ganun. So, lang siya, sobrang babaw niya, pero I think, siguro ba, kasi magkakaroon naman tayo ng Voltes 5. Isa siya sa mga comics na kinalakihan ko and it would be a great one if it will be given a chance. Actually, ngayon parang sobrang epic ka na pag may laruan ka ng Combatron or may comics
there
ka
is
ng Combatron.
There is a collectible
comic,
ata
diba?
ng Combatron na parang Funko pa pang laki.
So naalala ko yung mga pangalan ng mga kalaban talaga. Kakampi pa niya si Metallica, pati si Axel.
Mahilig sa sa 90s metal yung
Marak nga
Oo.
Siguro yung panahon na yan, di ba?
Yep.
Pwede pa, lagi pa na napapakinggan sa mga radio. Tapos, kumaga yung pinakauna nilang kalaban, si Abo Down, si Death, Comic Death, parang ganun. Ganun yung mga niya. Tapos, syempre, may super weapons din siya, mga ganyan. So, sobrang babaw lang ng comics niya, pero I know for sure if it gets to that point na ipalabas siya sa TV, kahit yung style ng Netflix lang ng 13, it would be a big thing na para doon sa mga lumaki sa And before kasi, ang comics, yung Funny Comics, it's like every Friday lang ang labas. So, mainit-init pa yan hintayin namin sa mga newsstand. Dadating talaga yung mga comics. Then, yan na. So, kanya-kanyang bili na kami ng comics. And before, it's really heaven. Smelling fresh comics from the
Papel,
truck, parang ganyan. Galing pa din sa mga, kasabay niya yung mga dyaryo ng Manila Inquirer, Manila Bulletin, Manila Inquirer lang pala.
The Philippine Daily Inquirer.
Ayun. So, yun yung sa akin. It's a local comics. I know if there are, listeners who are the same age like me, baka makarelate kayo. And, nako, ayun nga, parang rip-off siya ni Mega Man or Rockman, yung itsura niya. Miski yung paa, alam mo yung lalaki ng paa nila. Pero yung katawan nila, sakto lang. Tapos, malaki ulit yung ulo. Ganyan yung itsura. So, well, that's for me. Mamaya, marami pa tayong pagkukwentuhan.
Okay, technically, my recommendation. They already adapted it into a movie starring James McAvoy and Angelina Jolie. The thing was, it wasn't a proper adaptation of the comic. So what I'm recommending is Mark Millar's Wanted.
Okay. I remember the movie, but not the comic.
Ako nga rin eh. Sabi ko nga eh.
So here's a backstory first about the differences between the comic and the movie. So of course the movie, we have James McAvoy, Wesley Gibson, who is, basically guy who works at a cubicle job, dead end life, and then this woman named Fox comes along and says, "Oh, hey, did you know that your father was an assassin who was in a fraternity of assassins, that we have the ability to curve bullets?" Okay. That never happened in the comic. The whole fraternity of assassins bending bullets thing never happened. In fact, the reason why a lot of people don't realize that this is the exact same thing is because, for one thing, Wesley Gibson is not an assassin. He's actually a supervillain. Because here, instead of it being a fraternity of assassins, they are a fraternity of supervillains who banded together long ago, took down every single superhero of that planet, controlled the entire world, and are basically running it like the Illuminati. So they're controlling it from the sides. They can do whatever they want. But then there's also these little instances where they have some problems with other supervillains. And there's a lot of caricatures of different other villains where you have one that looks like Carnage, you have one that's a ripoff of Bizarro, Parasite, etc., etc. Honestly, that is a perfect thing that, for example, Netflix can adapt now to be like a sort of counter to Amazon's The Boys. Because for one thing, Netflix has already worked with Mark Millar's work before with Jupiter's Legacy, albeit less than favorable. But I believe that with Wanted, they can actually get a lot more favor because, for one thing, it's pretty dark, it's pretty violent, it's insane. They would have to change a few things because there are some things in the comic that are not very suitable even for adults, in terms of things how like jokes or references that are kind of less than pleasant or outdated, but the rest of the story is still pretty entertaining, and I think it fits well with this new genre that people love, that is basically poking fun at superhero culture, and in that sense, and how everyone just likes to prefer stories with anti-heroes. But now we have, and the fact that a lot of people have always been asking, we've had so many movies where the superhero is the main character. Why not let's be like supervillain, and not just like supervillain who does good things, like a real throughout supervillain that does really supervillain things. Wanted, the original Wanted, has all of that and more. They even have a
villain that has no rational. Just being a villain.
Pretty much. Like the only other issue they have is just fighting other supervillains, and it's like a turf war. Yeah. Survival. And they even have a version of Clayface, but he's not made of clay. And
Just
you can guess what he's made of. That's how crazy it is.
I think right now, Blake,
Okay.
diba, it's Netflix still has some or a contract with Mark Millar to do his creations in live action.
Oh,
So,
yeah. They did Jupiter's Legacy. They did Super
Mm.
Crooks.
yeah, Super Crooks.
So I think that maybe they could do Wanted. They can only probably do it just for a limited series because
Mhm.
the original story of the book is only 6 issues, 6 chapters. So they can just
Mm.
make it into a 6 to 8 episode limited series for Netflix. If people want more, then they'll just have to call
Yeah.
up Mark Millar and say, "Hey,
You better write more.
how do you want to go about this? They want more."
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
What's the reason why did they, kasi nagtataka ako, it has a strong story to tell, but they totally made, hindi lang revise talagang totally ibang-iba
totally different
yung
from the comic.
kaya nga nung kunento mo yung Wanted nagulat ako, it was James McAvoy and Angelina Jolie. Kasi may ano ba sila nun? Meron ba silang what the reason behind they change it or
I think because during that time, because it was like 2007, 2008. That was a time when superhero movies were not really taken seriously as much. Like, yeah, Dark Knight came out around that time, Spider-Man, but it still wasn't to the point where you can have smaller titles be taken much more seriously.
Yeah.
Like, for example, The Boys or again, Jupiter's Legacy. If it was made back then, they would have toned it down and said, you know what, let's let their costumes be leather jackets, but make it into super costumes.
Yeah.
That's everyone loves that leather.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully now, since with the emergence of The Boys and The Boys spinoff, hopefully a proper adaptation of Wanted, and maybe have a few cameos from actors who appeared in superhero movies.
Yeah.
Because there was this funny moment. There's this funny moment when when these supervillains basically eliminate their version of Batman and Robin, who is basically Adam West and Burt Ward, like
the campy version of
you guys-
Batman and Robin.
the world's greatest detective and Boy Wonder. But here in this world, we made you guys think that you were part of a 60s superhero cheesy show.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's so many things we can mess around with.
Hopefully, no? Hopefully. Kasi since ngayon naman, talagang there are a lot of streaming platforms, a lot of time for them to work on stuff. And I think Netflix is para sa akin, and not because biased tayo kay Netflix. They're the ones who are medyo no bars talaga.
But they're aggressively looking for stories din kasi.
Diba? So, let's see. Hopefully. Mark Miller.
They are aggressively looking for stories, but they are also aggressively canceling stories.
Warrior Gun.
Sobrang bababa ng Warrior Nun para i-cancel it.
I mean, it's not perfect, but I still think it deserves a proper ending. Honestly,
at least a closure, no?
Okay, sige. My turn. So, syempre this is always at the top of my list whenever I pick a comic run or comic story that I would want the viewers to start reading. And in the last couple of years din kasi there had, I think it started 2019. There had been rumors or that they were already exploring putting this in development, pero up until now wala pa, and I'll tell you the reason why later. My first recommendation is Something is Killing the Children. So Something is Killing the Children is written by James Tynion IV and art by Werder Deliadera, published by Boom Studios. Basically, the premise of the story is there are monsters living around us, and only children can see these monsters. So sila lang yung aware. They are the only ones aware that these creatures are existing. Because syempre yung mga bata is ano pa, 'di ba? They're innocent, they don't have biases of the world. So lahat ng mga bad things of that us adults know about the world, these children don't know. Kaya they are able to see these monsters. So yung Something is Killing the Children, nagkaroon ng a couple of murders in this small town sa US. And to find out what's causing these murders, we get to be introduced to the character of Erica Slaughter. So think of Erica Slaughter like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Para siyang ganun na character. So badass na babae, she can fight, she has a strong personality. And then yun yung adult na siya pero nakikita niya yung mga yung mga monsters na to. So meron siya parang desensitization na nangyari sa backstory niya. So she comes to this town and tries to save the town out of these monsters who are killing the children. Kaya Something is Killing the Children yung title. Now, it's been already reported that it's already in development. Unfortunately, last year lang, October 2022. The director kasi was supposed to be Mike Flanagan. If you know Mike Flanagan, he's the director of Midnight Mass, The Haunting of Hill House, and he's a great director for horror. And Something is Killing the Children is a horror book, basically. So, nung nalaman namin, fans, that Something is Killing the Children is going to be adapted into live action by Netflix themselves. Sabi ko, yes, isang horror director that will produce a horror version or a horror live action of a horror comic. Good mix. But October 22 last year, Mike Flanagan announced he will no longer take part of the project. But, oh no! So, I'm not sure what's happening right now. So, probably they're looking for another director. Probably they're just looking for another... di ba kasi in the recent news, I think Mike Flanagan was hired by Amazon. If I can remember correctly. So I think Prime Video is going to create material by Mike Flanagan. So Netflix lost a great director right there. So sayang. So kaya nasa wishlist ko pa rin siya that Something is Killing the Children will be produced because it is really a great story. There are a lot of fans sa Something is Killing the Children. Right now it's on issue 27, 28. So medyo mahaba na rin yung series, and it's on its second arc. It's ongoing pa. So it's on its second arc, and it's been so fun so far. So and yeah, sana you can read it, and hopefully nga
That's under what publishing group?
Boom Studios. So, if you're not familiar with Boom Studios, they're also creating a lot more independent titles rin recently. So, and sila rin ang nagpo-produce ng Power Rangers. I think Power Rangers. Yeah. So there, yeah. Sila may hawak ngayon ng Power Rangers. So, Something is Killing the Children. Mukhang matagal-tagal pa if they're looking for another director who will be developing it into a live action story. Pero definitely a must read for now.
Ngayon important na rin yung parang first season mo pa lang matindi na kasi lalo na sa mga streaming platforms, it's always subject for cancellation. Pag hindi talaga kahit sabihin mo, ito muna yung director natin tsaka natin kunin yung gusto natin. Pero pag bagsak na kagad yung rating yan, alam na
diba?
Palakol ka
I think, diba yung Jupiter's Legacy pa lang, episode 1 pa lang, alam na bumagsak na.
Yeah, parang yun nga. It's really like what they always say, first impressions last when it comes to series. Kasi your the first few episodes of your first season will dictate your future.
Yep.
Ganun lagi. Pag yung second season mo, medyo maglaylo yan. May chances ka pa for third eh. Pero yung first mo, wala ka na kaagad. Kaya, well, sayang. Parang ganda nga ng story.
Mismo nga, sana si na lang. Si HBO na lang kumuha sa Something is Killing the Children. It might probably, baka it might get a better cast, better director. Diba? Kasi,
Ganyan na rin yata, no? Pag yung director na kinukuha ng mga streaming platforms to secure projects, yung ganong tone,
na,
maging siya, maging consistent for the streaming platforms.
Mm-mm.
Well. Sige. Titingnan ko din yan. Actually, I honestly don't have an idea. First, yung Wanted ni Blake, I didn't know.
Ako hindi ko alam yun.
It was a movie. And that one. Because ako, miski ng bata ako, yung mga comics na horror. Dati naman kasi yung mga comics na horror before, lalo na pag Filipino comics, is either gory o talagang mga mumu talaga na labas yung bituka kaya ayaw ng horror ko.
If
bata ako.
If mapansin mo, Noah, yung comic na sinusulat ko, it has some horror tones eh. Medyo inspired ako dun sa sa horror genre. So it's a horror/superhero story.
Okay. Sige. Yan, marami guys na mapupulot. So, ako for our second round, this is exactly actually nasa under na sila ng DC. Then what I know before, di ko alam kung ba't kasi ang reference ko lagi edad ko grade 6 yata ako. If I'm not mistaken, grade 6 ako or tama, grade 6, grade 5 when it was shown in ABS-CBN pa. So the comics or the cartoon that I'm referring is Wildcats.
DC.
So right now, before nasa under sila ng Image.
Yep.
Then tapos punta sa Wildstorm yata sandali, then punta sila ng DC.
It's
recently,
it's Jim Lee under Wildstorm na print through Image Comics, tapos binili ni DC yung IP.
Binili na nila yung IP. But what I know recently, I'll just share it as well. Lumabas na yung mga first issues nila after how many years under DC. Lumabas na sila ngayon sa DC Comics.
Yep.
So, nung binasa ko siya, medyo medyo siguro ba introduction pa lang naman nila ulit. Medyo nerf Sabi ko, parang kumina sila dito. Sabi ko, parang kumina sila, grifter dito. Pero if you guys don't have an idea what Wildcats are, so they are a group of operatives, different types of sabihin natin, parang iba-ibang, parang may sinasabi nga nila, parang mutants daw or what. Pero they are different or special type of entities.
They're
So, hybrids.
Then
they're under hybrids.
Hybrids sila, hybrids.
And they are under an organization. And they're like operatives as well. So, may mission, that's like the usual story. Pagandahan lang, ako bago ko pa nagustuhan si Red Hood, si Grifter na gusto ko dati pa.
Yep.
So, sobrang angas niya. And, yun nga, doon yung literal na panyong, nung bata ako, bumibili ako ng panyo na pula, binubutas ko. Tsaka ako sinusot sa mukha ko. Bang, 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 Grifter na to, pre. Ganun na ako.
Panyo lang yun, diba? Tatakpan mo lang, mukha mo.
Panyo na ako, color red. So, parang, yun nga, ang tagal niya sa TV. Actually, popular siya in the television before. Halos sabihin natin, sumasabay siya sa popularity ng X-Men before. Yan, X-Men 97. Yun ang kasabayan niya sa Channel 2 before. So, kaya sobrang sikat din ng Image before. Nung high school ako, grade 6 ako. Dahil Image is really doing, pag sawa ka na sa tone ng Marvel, sawa ka sa tone ng DC. Tapos kunyari medyo rebelde yung datingan mo na nerd. Image ang takbuhan mo Yan, nandiyan sila Spawn, sila Savage Dragon, Gen 13. And Wildcats never fails to really entertain me before. So hopefully, kasi nagkaroon naman siya ng cartoons, now it's under DC. Actually, isa yan sa gusto kong i-tweet later. Baka paringgan ko si James Gunn. Baka
pwede, no? Wildcats,
diba?
pwede.
James Gunn,
actually, may following rin yan
diba? So, why not? since he's really popular or he's really known for giving break dun sa mga characters na hindi pa well known.
Mm-hmm.
Pero for sure, it will really give a lot of nostalgic memories for those peeps na naabutan talaga yung cartoons and Image Comics before when Wildcats were very popular. So, sobrang ganda niya kasi iba-iba din yung personality ng kada team, kada member. And medyo generic lang yung kalaban, pero okay pa rin. Okay pa rin. So, let's see. Yun ang sa akin. Round 2 ko.
Wildcats, yep. Actually,
Walang pusa dun, ha? Walang pusa dun.
Yung
siya,
hindi ko lang maalala yung abbreviation, pero it's an abbreviation for yung CATS. May abbreviation siya. Recently lang rin, there's a new issue number 1 ng Wildcats. I think I made a TikTok video on that one. So, pwede nyo i-check rin yung TikTok ko. But doon naman sa bagong issue, sobrang natuwa ako kasi I'm more of a Gen 13 fan than a Wildcats fan.
Gen 13.
Yung Gen 13 kasi nabasa ko siya noong 90s. O yun, nagkaalaman na tuloy ng edad. It has some... It's nung yung Gen 13 noong 90s is visually appealing. So,
define visually appealing.
So nagulat ako nung binasa ko yung Wildcats issue number 1 na recent na release. Nandun si si Grifter, hindi ko lang at the top of my head, hindi ko maalala ibang characters. Pero nandun si Grifter, and then nandun si Fairchild, yung naka-green na na costume. So parang, wait lang, bakit si Fairchild kasama na ng Wildcats? Nasaan yung Gen 13? And then medyo nerf din si Fairchild doon na parang, anong nangyayari?
Medyo nerf na sila. Sabi ko.
So, let's see.
Introduction pa lang naman.
It's a new, it's a reintroduction of the Wildcats sa DC universe na rin. So, they're canon in the DC universe. So, hopefully more fans will get to know the characters rin.
Actually, even the DC Encyclopedia, nandun na sila. Yung Wildcats. Oo, nandun na sila. Sila Mole, sila Voodoo, sila Warblade. Yeah. So, maski yung mga laruan nila hinahanap ko up until now. Sila Spartan.
Meron akong McFarlane toy ni Grifter. Nasaan na ba yun?
Okay lang naman sa akin, pre. Malayo pa yung birthday ko, pero okay lang naman. Kaya man ako, Sige. Go.
Go, Blake.
Para makarami.
My next recommendation is also by Mark Millar. It also involves supervillains.
Mahilig ka sa Mark Millar, ah?
Yeah. I mean, I was there when it was the fan sighting, so I was like, why not?
Nice.
Was this? Right. So the recommendation is, well, I'll start off with a question. You know how everyone always has this idea, what if Batman just became a bad guy?
Wait lang. Is that a new comic na kakalabas lang right now? Or parang re-release ng character? Parang familiar siya sa akin.
It could be both. It could be the new one. It could be the first one. But for the viewers of the audience who are watching this right now, I am talking about Mark Millar's answer to an evil Batman, basically Nemesis. Basically here in this story, Nemesis follows the supervillain and there's no other superheroes in this world. He is the only person who is a costumed menace in this world. He is just causing chaos everywhere, and the only person that can stop him in his mischievous yet very articulately intelligent plan is this police chief who is hot on his heels. But I swear, Nemesis plays some mind games on the police chief and the main characters. He does so many things that would make you feel like, yeah, I can see an evil Batman doing this exact same thing. It is crazy. It is very, it's very shocking, especially with the first issue alone, which makes you not want to go near a train. I'll just leave it there. And and recently there's been a relaunch, or rather reboot of sorts, called Nemesis Reloaded. So basically, it's doing its own story from scratch, yet at the same time it's still having some of the themes and pieces that were found in the original comic run, but now it's a bit more updated with stuff like involving COVID and um, police in the states, all these sorts of things that, well, it's ongoing now. The first issue was just released, and honestly, I don't know what they could adapt from there. They could probably adapt both if they wanted to for a TV series. They could adapt the first version of the story for the first season, and probably do some magic and make the new adaptation or the new reboot into the second season that just follows a different person. But again, with the oversaturation of so many superheroes in the media, it's time for some villains to get their due. And obviously, from audience reception, a lot of people like villains more than heroes at the moment. But the less we talk about Black Adam and Morbius, the better. Those were failed attempts. We don't need villains being heroes. We need villains being villains. I think this is
Being them.
a direction.
Yep. The reason why I got familiar or I remembered Nemesis because of Nemesis Reloaded. I've been reading a lot of Batman ever since. So recently
Di naman
kasi
halata.
di naman halata no. So recently there's this run by James, my favorite author right now, so James Tynion. Again, Something is Killing the Children. James Tynion also worked on a Batman run, and one of his artists was, one of the artists was Jorge Jimenez. He's a Spanish artist. He does the internal artwork on the Batman run during the James Tynion run. When Chip Zdarsky, the writer of Daredevil, took over the Batman title, Jorge Jimenez also drew for the first arc, so yung fail-safe na arc. So when I found out that Jorge Jimenez is doing the Nemesis Reloaded artwork, in the internal artwork, so parang this is interesting kasi syempre as you said, Blake, no, he's a rip-off of Batman, only that he's a villain na okay, parang this is Jorge Jimenez doing Batman again but a different version of it. So exciting. It's exciting that we're gonna get that story again. But yeah, I'm interested in how it would look like on screen on a live action sequence, diba? So yeah, maganda siya. Mukhang okay siya.
Who handled that publishing, Blake? Publishing of the
Mga
the
Image to,
comics,
right?
Nemesis.
Ang Nemesis. Let me have a quick check then.
Top Cow also, or if I'm not mistaken, it was also Top Cow because Mark Millar has a strong relationship with Top Cow. Or is it
Right now, the Nemesis Reloaded is under Image. But then again, Image kasi is creator centric, so the rights are still with Mark Millar. So they're just printing it, kumbaga.
At least, unlike some others.
No. Parang if you create a character under Marvel or DC, you don't own these characters. Ganun yun.
Yan talagang buhay.
And that's why Image Comics was made.
Yep. Yes. Okay. Yeah, so Nemesis Reloaded. So sobrang rin. So I think I would also want to go read that book then. Okay, for my turn, ito naman, it's not a superhero movie. It's not a superhero story. It's also not a horror story. But ito naman medyo philosophical in a sense. So last year, one of the best comic stories that I read, and I think every comic book fan is also aware of this, is The Many Deaths of Layla Starr. This is written by Ram V. At the top of my head, I forgot the artist. Pero yung title niya is The Many Deaths of Layla Starr. And it's published by Boom Studios. So, another Boom title. I'm a big fan of Boom right now. Masyadong maraming magagandang story sa Boom ngayon, Boom Studios. So, premise, ganito. This character goes to work on a regular basis. And then, on this certain day, pinag-report siya sa CEO nila. So, pumunta siya sa CEO. She goes to the CEO, and then the CEO tells her, "Hey, you're now fired. You're no longer supposed to do your job." And you know who this person is? death, si kamatayan. So God is the CEO,
Okay.
tells death na you're fired. You cannot do your job anymore. Bakit? Because someone on earth is born, and in the future he will be creating or inventing a way to cheat death. So ang objective ngayon, so nagalit si death. So ang objective ngayon is I need to find out this person kasi dahil tinanggalan akong trabaho, 'di ba? Gusto ko malaman bakit i-create yung way to cheat death. So nakipag-negotiate
Okay.
siya, and sabi niya, sige, I'll go to Earth as a human person. So naging tao siya doon. And she has to die several times dun sa story. Only basta basahin niyo na lang. Sobrang heartwarming, sobrang ganda nung pagkakasulat. It really kumbaga explores your concept of living and dying and the concept of life in itself. And naisip ko, if this is gonna be a live action movie, hindi siya pwedeng series eh. It's a short series, nasa 6-7 issues lang or 8 issues. So maikli lang siya. So it's definitely, if they're gonna adapt it, it's a movie. So parang nakita ko, is this a movie na parang si Wes Anderson can create, like, kasi it's an Indian inspired yung kanyang setting. So Indian yung characters, Indian yung deities, yung gods are Indian. So you are also kumbaga presented with the Indian culture as well. So how do Indians celebrate or mourn when a person dies, diba? So yun, so probably a drama or a very philosophical movie. Hindi ko lang may isip kung sinong director, probably Wes Anderson or James Cameron. Hindi James Cameron eh. Not even a James Cameron can probably do it eh. Pero ganon.
With what take two. Wes Anderson, I think because I've been seeing so many posts about his movie set in India. I think he should stay away from that for a very long time.
Kaya ko siya
I was like,
kaya ko siya immediately naisip eh, kasi parang okay, Indian backdrop, tapos you get a very good story na very heartwarming and very very tagos sa puso. Na okay, para probably Wes Anderson, pero a different director can also probably do it, diba? So director ng Banshees of Inisherin, Mike Donna. I forgot how to pronounce it. He's Irish, so that director from Banshees of Inisherin probably can also do that. So, basta it's philosophical. It's highly entertaining as well. Masyadong maraming time jumps din kasi ang nakakatawa nun when kasi you see death nga enters the body of Layla Starr, kaya and that's of Layla Starr. When she dies, she wakes up at a different time. Which is kinda, and syempre different time, iba na yung tumatanda yung magi-invent ng way to cheat death. So very interesting premise. I really like that story rin. And it's maglalabas ng hardcover this year, so also excited for that one. Yeah, so that's my second recommendation. Boom Studios again.
Studios, no?
Paborito ko ng publisher si Boom Studios right now.
Ako sa akin, before we wrap this up, gusto ko medyo medyo magbigay tayo ng controversy. Dahil sa dami ngayon dami na streaming platforms right now. Siyempre. Sa Philippines, medyo onti pa hindi pa talaga tayo kasing level ng Western with a lot of streaming platforms. Hindi ko alam kung ilan. Pero syempre, sa atin, HBO, Amazon, Netflix, Disney Plus. Sige, sabihan natin si Viva Max.
Si Viva Max.
Tama si Tito Vic, pwede naman tayo. Yun. So far, sino sa mga streaming platforms or networks, sabihin na natin, are giving justice to comic adaptations or comics? Giving, para sa inyo. With your, ako, I would say, I would admit, even though I'm a big Marvel fan, I cannot say that as far as justice, hindi pa ganun katindi ang ginagawa ng Disney. I understand they have they need to be catering for kids, catering for all ages. This should be a family oriented type of program. This should be, they are trying to reach out the general population.
Yeah.
And of course, as far as with getting the reference itself, para sa akin, medyo kulang pa siya. Pero there are some networks, ito actually, even Warner Brothers, does have that liberty naman. Diba? They have the liberty na medyo talagang patindihin yung mga comics ng DC. Because as far as franchise, lahat nasa kanila. Lahat na, they have the networks and they have the platforms that could do more or way beyond from a kid's point of view or kids understanding. Pwede. Pero yeah, sa inyo, who's the best choice right now? Is it like Netflix, Amazon, HBO, for giving justice to comic adaptations?
Definitely Amazon for me. Because, like, what they did with The Boys, like,
With The Boys.
I wouldn't say The Boys is a proper adaptation. I think it's a better adaptation of the comic. Because, the comic tends to get a little bit too crazy, but they added just the right amounts to the show. And of course, the surprise hit that they should not have messed up, and they did not. They did it perfectly, which is Invincible.
Yep.
Which I'm surprised that they did it in animation, which complements it very well. And we have season 2 on the way. Everyone's excited for that. And it's great how they were able to adapt it into their own way, yet at the same time still keeping with the spirit of the original comic books. Because usually I like the MCU shows in mind, but it's just like it just doesn't feel the same way as the comic in comparison. It's just like, okay, this happens, that's a reference. But then with like The Boys and Invincible, you're like, oh, they're doing this, they're finally doing this. Which is weird because a few years ago we were doing that for Marvel, but now it's sorry, Marvel. I love you. I still love you, Marvel. Don't hate me.
Of course. Again, we love Marvel as far as we structure what Kevin Feige is doing right now. Of course, all respect to that. Just so happen, of course, we are hindi lahat.
Yep.
Like us, may market din yan. So, yeah, I understand Amazon's doing a bit more edgier in compared with Disney, which we understand. Diba?
And I think
Sorry.
and I think second to that, my take din is I think HBO Go or HBO Max in the US has also the flexibility to really compete with what Prime Video is also coming out with. They came out with Peacemaker. I think Doom Patrol is also really good. So ang daming DC na hindi man madami, pero I think for what they have produced so far under HBO Go has been of quality. That's expected from HBO. Other than the non-comic related, diba? So House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones are really of high quality. We're expecting The Last of Us, or by the time this recording, we're expecting The Last of Us, and we're hearing a lot of The Last of Us being also of high quality. So we are expecting a lot of HBO doing a lot more DC stuff rin. So Peacemaker, Doom Patrol, hopefully when Matt Reeves' Penguin comes out, 'di ba? So we hopefully ganun din yung output din na it's not really bounded by the strings of the comics, but still remains faithful to the core of the stories.
So I truly hope directors and writers will be given more liberty to show how the comic should be adapted in the big screen or in the series. Kasi kumbaga, it's a way of respect as well to the writers, to the creators ng mga comics. And if you're gonna tone it down for the sake of this one, might as well not do it.
Yeah.
Might as well have another platform or network do it. So at least as a respect nga for those creators who did ako. Lalo na, syempre, diba, may mga comics na sobrang tagal na then you'll be, isipin natin, isipin mo si Sandman, it took how many years before it gets like a proper adaptation. So, yun lang. And again, thank you guys for all who listened. We truly, all the love for everyone. And yes, before we end this, you can catch us first in Geek Talk PH. Every Monday, we'll be releasing our episodes every Monday. And abangan nyo rin, of course, yung mga other episodes na mga kasama namin under Geek Talk PH. And then, you can also listen to us in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and this will be released as well in YouTube under Cup of Geek. So before we end this, any words before we end this one, guys? Any last words?
Join us at the Geek Talk PH block screening for the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania on February 15, 2023 at SM North EDSA Cinema 1. Check the details on our Facebook page.
Again, guys, thank you so much for listening to us. And again, next Monday, catch us as well here in Geek Talk PH. And thank you so much kung anong oras man kayo dyan. Good night, good morning, good afternoon. Bye-bye.